Hello and welcome to Granny Mo's Bookshelf. Today we'll be reading Noggin and the Moon Mouse. Oops, it's upside down. Noggin and the Moon Mouse by Oliver Postgate and Peter Firmin. David White, 60 East 55th Street, New York, New York. This book is for Jonathan. Oops. It was printed in England by Adlard and Son Limited, Bartholomew Press, Dorking, Surrey, in 1967. Published in the United States of America by David White Company, 60 East 55th Street. And now we'll let the story begin. This is the castle of Noggin the Nog. Noggin the Nog lived here a long time ago. Noggin the Nog and his son Newt looked up at the moon and stars. Newt said, "Are there people on the moon? What is the moon made of?" Noggin said, "I do not know. It looks like a big lump of cheese shining in the sky, but I do not think it is a big lump of cheese." Queen Nuka called to them, "It is bedtime for Newt. Tomorrow he is to lead old Fatty to the new horse trough, and he must come in now and go to bed." The next morning, the woodworkers and the bricklayers were up early, and they finished the new horse trough in the square and filled it with water. Old Fatty was Noggin's horse. Newt put on his best clothes and led old Fatty to the town square. Old Fatty was going to be the very first horse to drink out of the new horse trough. As Newt led old Fatty to the new horse trough, the band played loud music on their big curly trumpets. Suddenly they all stopped playing and looked up. A thing was falling from the sky, a round, shiny silver thing. And the thing landed in the new horse trough with a splash that made all the people and old Fatty very wet. The thing looked like a silver ball. It laid in the horse trough. It did not move. It made noises. It blew bubbles. The Nogs were afraid. They hid behind the wall. Thor Noggin said, "I think there is somebody inside that thing." Then the top of the ball lifted up. Out climbed an animal. It looked like a mouse, a very large mouse with a very long nose. And the mouse was wearing a coat. It climbed down, and it drank from the new horse trough. Noggin said, "Speak to it, Thor Noggin. Go and ask it why it has come here. Do not be afraid, Thor Noggin." But Thor Noggin was afraid. Thor Noggin drew his sword, and he went to speak to the mouse, but he held his sword out in front of him. The mouse touched the point of the sword. The point of the sword was very sharp, and the mouse squeaked and ran away. "Come back, mouse!" shouted the children, and so as they ran after it. "Come back, little mouse!" The mouse ran faster. It did not like to be chased by children and dogs. The mouse saw a tree with a hole near the top of it. It ran up the tree and jumped into the hole, and it looked outside the hole and saw the children and the dogs looking up. Newt said, "We will soon catch that mouse." He fetched a bird cage, and the children stood on each other's shoulders so that he could climb up. "Come out, little mouse," said Newt. "Come out, we will not hurt you." Newt put his hand into the hole. "Ow! It bites!" he shouted. Newt took a hold of the mouse by the scruff of the neck and lifted him out of the hole, and he put the mouse in the cage and shut the door. The mouse doesn't look too happy about that. "What are you doing?" shouted Noggin. "What have you done?" shouted Nuka. The children said, "Newt climbed up and caught the mouse for you. Here he is in a cage." must not do things like that, said Nuka. The mouse has come to see us. We must not chase it into a hole and put it in a cage. Nuka opened the door of the cage. Newt said, be careful, it bites. Nuka said, it will not bite me. The mouse did not bite Nuka. The mouse sat on Nuka's hand. Come into the castle, little mouse. We will try and find you something nice to eat. Noggin gave the mouse a biscuit. It did not like biscuits. Do you like jam? Asked Newt. The mouse put out its tongue and tasted the jam. It hated the taste of jam. Blech. Nuka gave it a hot sausage. Ugh! It cried and jumped to the windowsill. The mouse looked out and saw something he liked. It jumped out of the window. Noggin and Nuka and Newt ran down to the garden. They found the mouse in the flower bed, and the mouse was eating moon daisies. The mouse liked eating moon daisies. Nuka said to the mouse, where do you come from? The mouse pointed to the moon. So you are a moon mouse, said Nuka. Do you want to go back to the moon, or do you want to stay here? The mouse did not answer. It took Nuka's hand and pulled. Together they ran into the town. The moon mouse led Nuka to the grocer's shop. It climbed up on the counter and started looking along the shelves. It chose some oil. It chose some vinegar. It chose a big box of soap flakes. The moon mouse led the way back to the horse trough. Noggin and Nuka followed. After them came the grocer, who carried the jar of oil, Newt, who carried the box of soap flakes, and the grocer's brother, who carried the jug of vinegar, and a little girl who carried a funnel. The moon mouse climbed on to the horse trough. It pulled out the stoppers of 3 holes in the silver ball. Into one hole it poured vinegar. Into another hole it poured the oil. Into the third hole it poured the soap flakes. Newt and the other children picked a lot of moon daisies, and they gave the moon daisies to the moon mouse to eat them on his way home. The moon mouse climbed into the ball, and it took out a bright stone and gave it to Nuka. It was a jewel, a moonstone. Goodbye, mouse, said Noggin and Nuka. Do come again and see us. Do come and see us again. Noggin shook hands with the mouse. The mouse closed the lid. The silver ball made noises. It blew bubbles. The band played loud music. The Nogs shouted, goodbye, moon mouse. Go home safely. Goodbye, goodbye. The silver ball gurgled and roared, and suddenly it shot up into the sky on top of a cloud of bubbles, which covered the Nogs and filled the curly trumpets of the band. By the time they blew away all the bubbles, the silver ball and the mouse were gone. Look at all those bubbles. The end. That was Noggin and the Moon Mouse. I hope you enjoyed that story by Oliver Postgate and Peter Firmin. Thank you for listening. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Love you all. Take care. Bye-bye.